the 22nd installment of ESPN Honolulu Fan Friday Talk Story. I'm your host, Tiff Wells. With me today for the first half of our Talk Story, she's a point guard on the women's basketball team. She's a freshman, Kelsie Imai. Kelsie, welcome to Talk Story.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on with us. Now, growing up, we all know you played basketball, but what other sports did you play besides basketball?
I played basketball, volleyball, and softball.
And of those three, safe to say basketball was your favorite?
Yeah.
Were you always a point guard, or did you grow up playing other positions?
I actually, since I'm kind of on the bigger side at home, you say, I was able to play all positions growing up. So, but
And
point guard was a position.
And of all five positions, which is your favorite?
Easily point guard.
Who are some of your favorite point guards that you watched while you were growing up?
I don't know. It's just so many. Like, I watched so many people grow up. Like, growing up, I watched so many people play, and it's hard to name a favorite one.
Is there a funny moment or a favorite story you have from youth sports that will always make you laugh when you think about it?
No, not really, I don't know. It's just so much. I can't really think of one right now. So,
When did you know that you wanted to be a collegiate athlete and play basketball?
from a very young age, like both of my sisters both went to college, and I just knew that I wanted to do the same thing.
Take us through signing day and what led you to ultimately pick to play for Hawaii.
Well, coming from Hawaii, University of Hawaii Manoa is like big for Hawaii kids, and I always wanted to go growing up. So when I had the offer, like it was a no-brainer. Like it was easy. Like yes, I'll commit, and it was just like a dream come true, you could say.
When you're on the bench and you hear your name and your hometown announced in the starting lineups, to play for Hawaii and to represent the home state, what does it mean to you?
It means a lot to me because it's easy for my family to watch me, and obviously with COVID they couldn't come, but that's one of the main things that I wanted was my family to be able to come and watch me and my friends from Hawaii. So it's good because I know that I'm making a lot of people at home proud, and that's the number one thing that I really wanted to do.
You're from the Big Island, specifically Pahoa, and for those that haven't been to your hometown, is it a quiet town? What can you describe about it?
It's a small town that's just pretty laid back, and you go to the beach on your free time. That's pretty much all you can really do, and everybody knows each other, so it's like, yeah.
Who now speaking of your parents, who's the better cook, mom or dad?
Mom. Easily mom.
Dad's not going to get offended if you say mom?
He probably will, but my dad can cook, but he doesn't cook as much as my mom can cook, so.
Okay, so if you're going back home and it's such a long plane ride, less than an hour, what's your favorite dish that you're asking mom to make for you?
It depends on the day, but I would ask her for prime rib, but she always grumbles that it's too expensive, so I'd settle for a Portuguese bean soup.
Portuguese bean soup, that sounds pretty good. Now, when you're at Waiakea, your sophomore year, you were featured in ESPN's Top 10. What do you remember about this play, and how cool was it to watch SportsCenter and you're like, hey, that's me?
It was definitely a shock because the play was featured the next day, and I had actually just finished playing Marino, and we got like smashed. And my brother-in-law had called, and he was like, oh, Kelsey's on ESPN, like she's on Top 10 plays. And I was like, how is that possible? Like we just got smashed, but it was from the other game. And I really didn't think anything about it. So it was just like, I'm happy that I got to be on ESPN Top 10 plays, but it was nothing that I was expecting. Like,
you have three older siblings, and you're talking about your sisters, Kirsty and Cammie, and of course your brother Kirk Jr. Growing up, how tough were those 2-on-2 battles, and how did those help you become a better player because you were the youngest of the four?
Well, growing up, um, I never really did play against my sisters. It was always me and my brother. And my brother he's probably like 6'3". So that definitely helped me get me to where I am, is always playing against my brother. And we would go at it, like we would get mad at each other, like start fighting. My parents would have to come out, but it definitely made me a better player today.
In a game of horse, who's winning, you or your brother?
Oh, definitely, definitely me.
You were a standout at Waiakea High School, and in fact, your sister Kirsty was your head coach for a little bit. Was it tough to play for your sister as a head coach?
She was actually my assistant coach. Alika Smith was my head coach, but um, yeah, it wasn't tough, but she definitely challenged me, and she would push me, and she'd be on my head about everything. And I think it's good because no other coach would talk to me the way my sister talks to me. So.
You just mentioned Lika Smith, former great here at UH. When you told him you were going to play here for Hawaii, did he have some pieces of advice that you've always kind of kept as something important?
He's taught me so many things in such a short amount of time. And the number one thing that always stood out to me is that he told me to be different. So, yeah, but I love Coach Alika. Like, he's a great guy, great coach. And to this day, like, he'll still text me. He still watches my games. And if I'm home, he's like, hey, like, come get a workout in. Like, he's always on me too.
You wear jersey number 1 here for Hawaii. Has number 1 always been your number?
I guess so, because before I would always take number 22, which was my older sister Cammie's number. And then I had to give up my jersey to another player because it couldn't fit. My jersey, like, it fit me, but her jersey was too big. So we had traded, and I was number 1. And I kind of just stuck with that because it was different from my other siblings, and I guess I liked it, so.
Your head coach here for at Hawaii, Coach Laura Beeman. Do you have a funny story about her?
So there was an incident that I had tripped a girl, and like it blew up like all over Hawaii, and everybody was just like bad mouthing me, and I was like, somebody had even told me like, oh, you're gonna lose your scholarship. And I had called her, and I was like panicking, and I was like, hey, like, Coach B, I didn't do this on purpose, and people are saying I'm gonna lose my scholarship. And she just like, she laughed, and she was like, don't even worry about it. Like, I'm glad that you tripped her, because she says that it's like I have this grit in me that's just like, I'm gonna go. Like, she's glad that I'm gonna go play hard and do not something dirty, but just play hard.
Days off are rare for collegiate athletes, and especially during the season. But say Coach Beeman gives you a day off, how are you going to enjoy it?
Oh, I'm going surfing. That's like
is it shortboard, longboard? Favorite break on the island? What is it?
I just longboard. I just learned. Actually, Amy Atwell had taught me to surf when I first moved out here. So that's what I do now. I have a little wave storm with me, and I go when I can.
Keisha Kanikoa, Kanisha Bello, Leilani Galdones, of course, the Molina sisters, all these basketball players, and I can see you nodding your head in the background. All of these players born and raised on the Big Island. For you, how much pride do you have to be that next player to say you're from the Big Island playing Division I basketball?
It's like I feel like I've achieved one of my main goals, which is to go and play D1 college basketball from a very young age. And it's cool that you named those people, because like I played against Keisha Kanikoa. Like, she had coached me at one point. Kanisha Bello, like, I grew up with her. That was my sister's best friend, and she would pick me up, and she would take me to practices in Oahu and sometimes. And that's just really cool that I'm a part of like their category now, I guess.
What was the biggest transition for you coming over from the BIIF to playing major Division I college basketball?
Definitely my size, because at home I'm pretty much taller than everybody, and right now I'm the smallest girl on the team.
You started all games but one. What's been the biggest adjustment going from coming off the bench to being in that starting 5?
It's just like there's only me and Liv as point guards, and it's just having to make adjustments there. Like, I don't have time to sit down and, like, soak in my mistakes. Like, Coach K had told me, like, I'm getting an opportunity that most people don't get to get because I get to learn from my mistakes and I don't get taken out immediately because I need to be in the game at some times. So it's just adjusting immediately for me.
What's been the biggest adjustment for you, whether it's basketball or just coming from high school to college?
I don't know. It's just like, I guess on my high school team, I was one that really had to do everything, and I was comfortable being a leader and stuff on high school. But coming up here, I didn't want to like overstep anybody. So that's probably the biggest adjustment I had to make, is like finding my comfort zone. But over the time, I got in trouble for not being loud enough. So it's just like finding that voice and finding it without overstepping anybody.
When you've gone on the road and you're packing your carry-on items, what are some of the must-have items that you have to have in your carry-on bag?
I have to have like my computer, my iPad, and like obviously my AirPods, and that's pretty much it. Just the basic stuff that I need for school.
When Coach Beeman told you you're gonna start your first collegiate game, and of course it came against Hawaii Hilo, did it make it that much more special playing against the team that was from your home island?
Oh yeah, definitely, because I actually grew up knowing Coach Kaneshiro, because that's who my sisters played for, and I was always surrounded by them. And like, to be able to play against the school from my home is just like a really big deal for me.
What's your favorite part about being a Rainbow Wahine?
Just being able to have my amazing teammates. Like, I'm so close with so many of my teammates. It's crazy. Like, I didn't know these people a year ago, and now we're like sisters.
Next week, you guys host UC Davis for the final two games, at least what's on the schedule to end the regular season. There's been a lot of cardboard cutouts in the arena. Could we maybe see a cardboard cutout of mom or dad come next week?
They had asked me, and they were like, do you want me to put a cardboard cutout of us or like my nephews? And I told them, I was like, I mean, if you guys want to, you guys can, but if you don't, it's not like I'll be upset about it. But I doubt that they'll put a cardboard cutout.
4 games left, as we mentioned, for the regular season. What's kind of the mindset of the team right now?
We just want to go at it and get some wins. Like, we've had so many trials and tribulations. Like, it's crazy. We went into quarantine a couple times, and coming out of that is hard, and playing games. So we're just like really appreciating the fact that we haven't gone into quarantine lately, knock on some wood, but we're just here to improve, and we really want to do good,
If there's a young girl out there and she's just getting into the game of basketball and she asked you for a piece of advice, what would you tell her?
Just work hard and never give up, and you'll be where you want to be.
Last one here for you, Kelsie. We know that Hawaii has a pretty big fan base for women's basketball. If you had a message for them, what would you like to tell them?
Keep wearing your mask, keep the COVID counts down, and hopefully we can have some fans next year.
Kelsie, this has been so much fun. We really appreciate the time you've given us today. Thank you for your time. Best of luck at Long Beach. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll be joined by one of Kelsie's teammates, Olivia Davies. For Kelsie Imai, I'm Tiff Wells. You're listening to ESPN Honolulu Fan Friday Talk Story. Welcome back to ESPN Honolulu Fan Friday Talk Story. I'm Tiff Wells. Now with me as we continue our women's basketball chat, she's a redshirt freshman, Olivia Davies. Olivia, welcome to Talk Story.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Now, first off, growing up, besides basketball, what other sports did you play?
When I was younger, like elementary school, I played soccer until about middle school, and then in middle school I got more into basketball, and then I also did a little bit of track.
Is there a funny story or a memory that you have from when you were playing youth sports that when you look back on it makes you laugh?
I do have one. One of my old AU teammates, Alyssa Peely, she plays at USC now. When we were younger, she was a lot bigger than I was just growing up. And I would always end up guarding her in the games. And my dad would say that I looked like a little pit bull trying to guard her because I was so much smaller and I was so angry about stuff. But yeah, that's probably the funniest story I have.
And you said she's now playing at USC. How tall is she? And officially, how tall are you?
She's, I want to say like 6'1", 6 foot. And I'm like a solid 5'9".
So 5'9" without basketball shoes, but with them on, you're bumped up to 5'11", 6 feet, safe to say?
Yeah, for sure.
Your hometown is Anchorage, Alaska. What do you miss most about home?
I definitely just miss my family the most. I'm actually from Wasilla. I always say Anchorage just because everybody knows where Anchorage is. But I'm like an hour outside of Anchorage. The thing that I probably miss most, especially like this time of year, is being able to see the stars and like the northern lights, which is really pretty this time of year. But yeah.
We can all be naive and when we talk about cold places, and I'm pretty sure Alaska is up there in terms of cold places. Do you have any crazy weather stories growing up as a kid?
Oh yeah, there's tons. I think one of the more recent ones, I think it was like my junior year of high school. It was like -30, I want to say. And they usually don't cancel school, but they did this time. And if you take a boiling like pot of water and you throw it in the air in that temperature, it freezes in the air and turns into like steam, which is really, it's actually really fun to do. But yeah.
I've never been to Alaska. If there's one or two places that I have to go and see, or one or two things that I have to do when I'm there, what are you recommending that I do? What are you recommending that I go see?
I would definitely say you have to see Mount McKinley, or Denali also. The name changes sometimes. But it's really pretty. You can see it like from miles away. It's huge. It's like this one giant mountain in the middle of Fairbanks. That's one. You definitely have to go fishing in Kenai. You get king salmon, great salmon, and it's super fun. It's super easy. You don't really need like any experience. I definitely barely have experience and I can do it. So that's really fun. And then I would definitely just like outdoor stuff like hiking, fishing, camping, stuff like that. Snow machining too. That's available.
When did you know that you wanted to play collegiate basketball?
I've always kind of known, like my dad and I have a really good relationship, especially through basketball. And he's always kind of told me, he's like, hey, like if you want to, and if you are willing to do this, like you can pay for school if you want to like keep pursuing basketball in this way. And I was like, okay, like I'm in 8th grade, but sure.
When you had your signing day a couple of years ago, what led you to pick UH, and describe some of the moments during your signing day?
I picked UH mostly because of the coaching staff. Like I felt like I could have a lot of really honest conversations with the coaching staff, and I still feel the same way today. Like I can be like, hey, Coach B, like, this is what's going on. I need to talk to you. And she'll, like, make time for me, which is really important, especially with, like, mental health with student athletes. kind of fluctuates, and it's really nice knowing that like I have this safety net of coaches and other like staff members that I can just go to if I need to. And then during my signing day, it was actually, I have a funny story. So I had gotten my license like a week before my signing day, and it had freeze rain, so there was black ice on the road. And this is like a couple hours before my signing. I did a full 360 in the road, like just totally peeled out, did a 360 in the road. My car was like tilting over the side of the road, like about to roll into the ditch. But I made it out, and I called my dad, and I was like, Dad, I almost just died. He was like, that would have been a great headline instead of your signing.
You talk about dad, you mentioned mom as well. Be honest, who's the better cook, mom or dad?
Ooh. Oh goodness. They both are really good. They both have their moments. They will like they have their moments. They both like to experiment, so it's never really the same dish like twice, but they're both really good cooks.
If you do go back home and there's a dish, whether it's one that they can make really well or if they're experimenting, as you just said, what are you asking them to make for you? Maybe one dish from each parent.
Okay. For my mom, I'm definitely gonna ask her to make me spaghetti. She makes really good spaghetti, like homemade sauce and everything. And then for my dad, I'd probably say like a steak and potatoes because he likes to grill. So
Your freshman year, was it tough to be away from home for so long?
it actually wasn't super bad. I definitely got homesick like anybody else, but it being with the team helped a lot, and I've always kind of been independent, and my parents like let me be independent and kind of pushed me out of the nest early to get that maturity. And I've been on trips and stuff where I've been by myself for like 3 months at a time. So I was kind of already used to it, but it wasn't too bad.
October 29th, 2019. I can see you nodding there. A tough situation. Exhibition, your first collegiate game. I'm there in the stands watching you guys play Hawaii Pacific. You come off the bench. 4 minutes later, you're being helped up off the floor. Can you describe just some of those emotions and just what's kind of going through your head during that time?
I think myself, I was definitely trying to talk myself out of like thinking of the worst. I was like, it's not that bad. Like it can't be that bad. And I was like, I'm walking, so it must not be that bad. But I know after like I heard the news and everything, I was really like I was frustrated, but at the same time, it's better that I kind of got it out of the way, I guess. And I took last year and parts of this year really for experience, and I'm honestly glad that I had that opportunity to get that experience through the way that I did, even if I was on the sideline. And my teammates were great. They helped me with whatever I needed. The coaches were great. I had a great support. So it bothered me, but it didn't really like affect me super bad mentally.
For those that helped you in your recovery, you mentioned the coaching staff, you mentioned the teammates, but is there anybody specifically in the medical profession that you would like to take the time to say thank you right now?
Oh, Erin Tillman, 100%. She's been with me like every day since I've been hurt, with my little nicks and swollen knee and all kinds of things. She does take a lot of time, and I give her props for doing what she does, because I know it's very difficult taking care of 14 girls at once. Like it's stressful, and we're not her only team too. And she's helped me a lot in the process, kept me up, made sure that I've been good and I'm healthy, and I thank her for that.
we all know that representing Hawaii is something special for whatever team an athlete plays on here at UH. But for you to be able to represent another state, Alaska, just because there's not a lot of collegiate athletes that hail from that state, what kind of pride do you take in knowing that you're representing the Great North in the 49th state?
I take a lot of pride in it. Just I like that I can show the kids in Alaska that you can get out of Alaska. It's not just like high school is your peak and then there's nothing left for you. Like if you want it that bad, you can get out of Alaska and you can pursue anything that you want to pursue.
Last March, the team is in Long Beach for the Big West tournament. And of course, you guys win the quarterfinal round game against Fullerton. And then the next day, we all find out the tournament's canceled. And it ended the seasons of the three seniors, Savannah, Courtney, and Jalissa. To you, what did those three players mean to you, even though you were just with them for one season?
Oh goodness, they were already family at that time. Like seeing how emotional each one of them got and how emotional everybody on the team got in that moment was heartbreaking. And I knew, like, I couldn't personally play or anything, but I knew that if that had been taken away from me, especially the last day, like my last chance at playing basketball, I would have been heartbroken. But each one of them helped me in their own way, like mentally, emotionally. As teammates, they were great people, and I love them. And I still text them and talk to them to this day.
You guys are hitting out on the road again this week. You're going to Long Beach for a pair of games. You've been on the road a couple times already this season. When you do travel and you're putting in things to your carry-on case, what are some of the must-have items that you have to have?
My carry-on? I definitely have to have a sweatshirt because I get cold when we travel, which is surprising since I'm from Alaska. But definitely a sweatshirt, my computer, and then I always like to have a book with me just in case, like, some downtime. Right now I'm reading A Beautiful Boy. I don't really pack too heavy.
This past January on the 15th, you're on the road with the team. You guys are at Bakersfield, and you've already been cleared for participation. You've gone through practices and whatnot, but it was your first official game. You're sitting on the bench watching the game unfold. What's going through your mind when Coach Beeman turns to you and says, "Hey, Liv, you're in"? Describe for us that moment.
It was definitely overwhelming. I was already nervous. But Coach B always tells, like, us, if you're nervous, then you can sweat out nerves. So go out there, play hard. And that's what I tried to do. But it was definitely, it was so exciting and, like, nerve-wracking and emotional, and it was great. But yeah. How
good did it feel when that three-pointer went in to your first collegiate points?
It felt pretty good. It was like a relief almost. I was like, okay, so I guess I can still do this.
What's your favorite part about being a Rainbow Wahine?
Just being a part of the culture and just the sense of family. Like, even from other teams, like, everybody's so friendly, everybody's so nice, everybody helps everybody. And it's just nice knowing that I have an entire state behind me and I can represent them.
4 games left on the regular season. We talked about the 2 coming up at Long Beach, and then you guys return home to take on UC Davis to end the regular season. 4 games left, plus the conference tournament. What's the mindset of the team right now?
The mindset right now is we can't take any days for granted, really, or, like, take any days off. These next 4 games, we're really trying to prepare, stringing together 4 games in a row, much like we have to do in the tournament. And we don't have a lot of time to turn around, change game plans, things like that. So we need to take our first game and make the adjustments that night, not wait for the next day to make adjustments, kind of thing.
Last one here for you, Liv. if you had a message for that Hawaii Wahine basketball fan base, what would you like to tell them?
I would definitely say thank you for letting me represent you guys, and I appreciate all of the love and support.
This has been so much fun, Olivia. Thank you so much. We appreciate the time you've given us today. Best of luck at Long Beach, and best of luck the rest of the way this season.
Thank you so much.
For Olivia, as well as Kelsie, and the rest of us here at ESPN Honolulu, I'm Tiff Wells saying thank you for joining us here on the 22nd edition of ESPN Honolulu Fan Friday Talk Story. Until next time, like Liv said, wear that mask, be safe, and stay socially distant.
You've been listening to ESPN Honolulu Fan Friday Talk Story, brought to you by Hardware Hawaii and Hawaii USA Federal Credit Union.